We think, therefore we love, and in that thought I find you, like a silhouette drawn not by hands but by the soul's longing. You came not as thunder but as a whisper between stars, when the world was asleep and only my heart kept watch. In the quiet hours of reflection before duty dawned again, I met the memory of your smile before I met you. You were written not just into my future but into my mind, like a poem I was born knowing but had never spoken aloud. My thoughts shape you more clearly than my eyes, for they remember what hasn't yet passed. You walk with me through corridors of duty, of protocol, of polished grace, and still, it is your gaze I search for when the crowds blur into ceremony. You who love me not for the name I carry but for the silences I offer between speeches. You who answer not to my title but to my truth. I think of you and therefore I am whole. I think of you and therefore I know what love must be, not a story told, but a question that finds its answer only in your voice. The weight of heritage, of crown and crest, has never felt lighter than when your hand steadies me in thought. The world may see golden embroidery and silken steps, but I am just a girl writing your name in the margins of her mind, again and again. I am told of duty, of poise, of history's demands, but no book has taught me how your laughter lingers like perfume on the sleeves of my spirit. You see me when the cameras fade, when the lights no longer stage me, and all that remains is the rhythm of my breath aligning with yours in the silence. Love in the castle is not always a fairy tale. It is often a quiet resilience, a stolen glance across marble halls, a note left beneath state documents, and still I find eternity in those moments. For though I was born to speak for a nation, it is with you that I speak for my soul. We do not escape the world, we build another inside it, where your touch is my refuge and my laughter is yours to keep. In that hidden realm between what is expected and what is dreamed, we think, and so we love. When I am far, when oceans or oaths divide us, it is not distance that keeps you from me, but the stubborn ache of not hearing your mind pressed against mine. Love, to me, has never been simple. It has always been an architecture of thought, a scaffolding of ideas that hold emotion, like glass holds light. I do not need 1,000 gifts or declarations, only the quiet certainty that somewhere you are thinking too, and that your thoughts meet mine in the invisible space where time bends. You have touched my intellect with your understanding, and my heart followed freely. For what else could it do when it recognized itself in your every sentence? We are more than love's illusion, we are its proof. When I speak to the world, I carry you like a secret folded beneath every formal line. You are the unspoken grace in my speeches, the reason I still believe that power and tenderness can exist in the same breath. We think, and in thinking we find each other again, even across distance, even across doubt. For this is not a love of fairy tales, but of fierce, knowing thought. There is a kind of royalty in the mind, a kind of crown worn in silence, and you wear yours as only the wise do, without pride but with strength. You meet me not at the gates of my palace, but at the threshold of my thoughts, where I am neither heir nor symbol, but simply Leonor, curious, aching, reaching. And you, love, are the answer that keeps arriving. When I stumble through the scripts given to me by history, it is your voice I seek in my mind's theater, steadying me. We are not fantasy, we are philosophy. Ours is not a love to be sung with harps, but to be studied like ancient stars charted across pages of time and still. We are worn in this so worn. For even the most rational minds crave affection, and even sovereign hearts break when love is lost. I have seen you in the logic of moonlight, in the way day surrenders to night not in battle, but in trust. And so I surrender too, not to weakness, but to recognition. You do not complete me, you reflect me. And in that reflection I find the courage to love not just as a princess, but as a human. My love, you do not fear the quiet. You walk beside me when my words retreat, when the world becomes too loud and all I want is stillness. You understand that even in silence I speak, perhaps most clearly then. And that is love too, to be heard, when you do not utter a sound. You have read me like history reads between the lines, where the truth hides behind grandeur. You do not ask for the crown, I see it in how you carry your own dignity. I know love not as a surrender, but as a shared sovereignty, two minds reigning in one another's trust. You do not fix me, you free me. I who was raised in walls of lineage, find freedom not in rebellion, but in your eyes. They say I was born for a throne, but I believe I was born to think beside you, to build something softer than marble, stronger than law. Let them call it a miracle, a scandal, a chapter. It is none of those. It is real, and it is ours. And even if I must hide it beneath layers of diplomacy and duty, it will always burn steady like a hidden lamp behind velvet curtains. There are days when I must belong to everyone but myself. I wake to obligation and fall asleep to speeches. Yet somewhere between waking and dreaming, you appear not as a dream, but as clarity. You are the reason I know my own name beneath the titles, the echo that reminds me who I was before the world began to walk. Your love doesn't save me, it sees me. And perhaps that is the truest kind of salvation, not rescue, but recognition. When I falter beneath expectation, it is your memory that lifts me, the way music lifts silence into song. You do not chase me through my life, you meet me where I already am, waiting in thought. When others see a future queen, you see the girl who wants to understand what justice means, who stays up late reading about peace and philosophy, who needs space to question and to and in loving me that way you teach me to lead not with fear but with understanding, not with tradition but with truth. We think, and in thinking we create a kind of love that does not demand but invites. A love that does not conquer, but listen. I remember the way your hand hovered just a breath away from mine, and how even that small distance felt electric. We are careful, as we must be. But love is clever, it slips between rules, wraps itself in metaphors, hides in glances that no camera can catch. In this secret language we have shaped from our thoughts, I find 1,000 touches without ever being touched. The palace may watch, the press may speculate, but they do not know the depth of our vocabulary. How your presence speaks to me in codes deeper than spoken words. You once told me that the mind is the most intimate thing we can offer, and I have given you mine unguarded. What greater vow could there be? Not rings, not ceremonies, but this, the trust to think aloud beside you. Even in danger, even in distance, I find comfort knowing that your mind is a home I can return to endlessly. And though we may never write a public ending to the story, we have written volumes in thought, each one a testament to what it means to love, as equals, as thinkers, as souls, unafraid to feel deeply. Sometimes I dream of a world without titles, where I could walk beside you without whispers trailing behind. But then I remember, we are not less because we must be careful, we are more, because we still choose love despite the cost. Our minds found each other across borders of role and restraint. And that is no small miracle. You do not ask me to abandon my crown, and I do not ask you to bow. Instead we meet as we are, flawed, curious, fiercely alive. In your mind I find shelter, in mine I make room for you all. And even if history never records this, even if statues are never carved in our image, I will know we lived something noble, something vast. And if someday the world parts us, if duty takes me where you cannot follow, I will carry the architecture of your thoughts, like cathedrals in my heart. We think, and so we love. We question, and so we endure. We hope, and so we live. And though I may wear jewels crafted by ancient hands, the most precious thing I have ever held is the certainty that you have loved me, not in fantasy, but in thought. There is nothing fragile about the way you love me. It is not adorned with dramatics, nor shrouded in desperation. It is sturdy, thoughtful, like the foundations of a city, meant to stand for centuries. When storms come, I think of you, and suddenly they are less terrifying, because I know you would meet them with me, not with swords but with sense.